Chapter 14. Sowing Seeds of Discord. Why you don't get somebody to do that? Constance asked. There is no earthly reason why you have to do that yourself. She sat across from Prudence, sewing together bits of colored cloth. Prudence sat at the edge of her rocking chair and pulled her fan close to her. She loosened the clips of the fan housing to reveal the brown, dust-encrusted gray blades. She sneezed as the disturbed dust tickled her nostrils. I don't need anybody to do what I can do for myself, she answered, as she screwed off the blades from the fan. Constance snorted as she moistened the tip of the pink length of thread that she held between her lips. Either you think you are Superwoman or you just mean. Pay somebody to clean your fan. How you expect the workmen to live if you don't give them any work? Prudence concentrated on inserting the screwdriver into the slotted head of the tiny screw that held the back grill onto the stand of the fan. Yes, she exclaimed. She'd finally got a good grip of the screw. Looks like it wearing out, she said, holding it between her finger and thumb in front of her face. I need to get some at the hardware. Don't tell me you plan to go into the fan-fixing business? Constance asked her, pausing her sewing to smile at Prudence. I try to learn to do everything so that I won't be beholden to anybody, Prudence said. Not a thing in this world is too hard to do. Anybody can do anything. If you say so, Constance said, and returned to her sewing. The voices from the radio swelled as their conversation lulled. While Constance sewed, Prudence took the parts of the fan that she'd removed to the pipe at the side of veranda. After she'd washed them, she lay them on the smooth top of the hedging that rose above the wall and framed the front of the yard. She returned to the veranda and began to wipe down the stand of the fan. You hear that man again? She asked Constance. It seems like him have nothing to do. Every day him call the program and talk the same thing. Bad road from he was a boy. No piped water. No street light. They give the politicians a free pass. All these years they voting for them and not one of them doing anything for them. Bet you as the next election call that man will be the first in line to vote for his party. If you ask me, they get what they deserve. Him not wrong, Constance said. What we voting for if they won't do anything for us? But if they not doing anything year in year out, the people can't do anything for themselves. The people can do so much and no more, Constance said. But you right, if the politicians don't want to live up to their responsibility, we shouldn't vote for them in truth. You can look at it another way, Prudence said, laughing. If the politicians did everything that we want them to do, programs like these wouldn't exist. What would they talk about? How the government good and how everything going good in the country, Constance replied, laughing. Most people don't want to hear that. You notice how people like to focus on the bad things? Prudence asked, clutching the back of her head in her hands as she reclined in her chair. True. Nobody can please we and we can't please we self, Constance said. Prudence chuckled. The day is so nice and bright. It is a good day for washing. I wish I had more dirty clothes to wash. She glanced at her clothes swaying on the lines in front of the hedging. You don't go anywhere except for bush and church and you wear the same clothes over and over, so you won't have much to wash, Constance said, pausing to eye Prudence's clothes. Not because it is yard, you need to do better. Nobody would catch me in anything looking like what you wear in the yard. Prudence looked down on her stained khaki pants and striped long-sleeved shirt. Instead of her long water boots that she wore to work in her garden, she wore sandals and socks in the house. The socks protected her skin from the mosquitoes that flitted around looking for blood. Constance could say anything she wanted. She didn't understand what she had to undergo when she went out to clean the yard or visit her garden. As long as she was comfortable, she didn't care what anybody thought. When last you washed the spread on your bed? Constance interrupted her thoughts. You could wash that. Prudence shrugged. I don't have anybody sleeping with me. The spread is quite fine. If you lie on it, it must get dirty. How you manage sleep on a dirty bed, I don't know. Constance, my bed is not dirty. I don't sleep on the spread. I change my sheets every week. You think the spread is clean, but it can't be. You ever see the amount of dust in the place? Every morning I sweep the house, evening too. And every morning I find the same amount of dust I sweep out the day before. Only God knows the amount of dust that bedspread collect. Today is a good day to throw it in the machine. She turned back to her quilt and started to hum. I like my dusty bedspread just the way it is, Prudence said. I'm not ready to wash it yet. Suit yourself, Constance said. As long as you can stomach it. I have to keep my place clean. You don't know what can happen to you and people have to run in. Prudence clasped her hands and placed them against her chest. She felt the erratic rhythm of her heart. Constance wanted her to tell her something, but she wouldn't allow her to draw her tongue. If she wanted to use the same spread on her bed for the whole year, that was her business. Who was Constance to call her nasty because she didn't change her bedspread every week? That woman. She heaved a sigh and stood. She paused to watch Constance's fingers dancing across the section of the quilt on which she was working. To her inexperienced eyes, Constance didn't have much further to go. Before long, the spread would be on her bed, a showpiece, waiting for somebody who never came to run in to see it. It wouldn't have the pleasure of being lain on during the day or night. What was the point of having a bed and not enjoying it when you want to? Prudence wondered. What you want to eat? She asked Constance, interrupting her thoughts. I going to fix some lunch. I will do it, Constance said, her fingers still dancing across the cloth. I can do it, Prudence said. Finish your quilt. I know you can do it, but you won't do it like I want it, Constance said, her eyes focused on her sewing. Prudence stood beside her chair, breathing in and out, in and out. Constance did a few flourishes of the needle on the quilt, then used her teeth to bite the thread. She took off her thimble and secured it and her needle and thread in her sewing kit before standing and rushing into the house. Why I just stand here and allow that woman to take liberty with me? Prudence threw the question out to the wind, which whisked it away. It is because I am a peace-loving child of God why I don't go on bad in this house, you know. She took 2 steps towards the kitchen, then turned and went into the yard to retrieve the parts of her fan. She slammed the back grill onto the stand of the fan and tightened the screws until her knuckles strained. She was admiring her handiwork when Constance walked back onto the veranda, bearing a tray with their lunch. I reheat the soup. If we don't have it now, I don't want it again, she said. Prudence said nothing. She brushed off her hands on her shirt and took her bowl from the tray. Obviously, I don't eat sandwich, she murmured, eyeing the one sandwich on the tray. Without waiting for Constance, she sent up a quick prayer and started to eat. Soup really tasted better after it had stayed for a few days, she thought. She lifted her head to see Constance biting into her sandwich and eating her soup. I didn't know I was so hungry, Constance said, and scooped out the last bit of soup from her bowl. You wanted a sandwich? I didn't think you wanted one, she said, glancing at Prudence. No, Prudence said. The soup was enough. She closed her eyes and settled into her chair, shooing the malevolent thoughts that spun around and around in her head out of the way, before allowing sleep to claim her.